Listen, and listen closely, because what you're about to discover might just rewrite your destiny tonight. Hidden in pockets, forgotten in drawers, and lost in dusty boxes lie coins so powerful. Their value can turn ordinary day into a miracle. These are not just coins, they are life-changing treasures, capable of exploding into millions at auction. Stay until the very end, because the next coin you hear might be the one sitting in your home right now. First up, brace yourself, because the 1943 P. Jefferson nickel you're about to hear about isn't just a coin, it's a thunderstorm of destiny wrapped inside 5 cents. A coin born in the darkest chapter of history, World War II, when America faced shortages so severe that even the metal inside coins had to be changed. And from that moment of panic, of fear, of rushing factories and roaring furnaces, came a coin that today is capable of shaking the ground beneath your life. This is a nickel that hides wealth so shocking, so unimaginable, that if you hold one of its rarest varieties, you're not holding a coin, you're holding a gateway to overnight fortune. Because in 1943, P isn't just valuable, it carries the kind of auction prices that ignite headlines, the kind that transforms ordinary people into millionaires without warning. Imagine it, a 5-cent coin that contains 35% silver, a coin created not from normal metal, but from America's wartime desperation. And that desperation birthed mistakes. Mistakes so rare that a single one has reached $15,275, another reached $28,750, and the most flawless wartime nickel specimens have pierced $40,000 at major auctions. But that's just the beginning, because the truth only gets more shocking. Some examples with full steps, those perfect, crystal-sharp steps on Monticello, have been hunted by collectors with a kind of obsession usually seen only in treasure hunters chasing lost civilizations. And in that obsession came the discoveries that shattered expectations. Record-breaking sales pushing toward $60,000, $75,000, and even whispers of private sales near $100,000 for the finest known examples. Yes, a wartime nickel worth more than a luxury car, more than a year's salary, more than some houses. But the true emotional punch hits when you realize this coin could be sitting in your home right now. Maybe in an old jar, maybe tucked in a drawer, maybe sitting quietly inside your grandfather's forgotten box of change. Because millions were minted, yes, but only a microscopic number survived in immaculate condition. Only a handful have the sharp steps, the clean surfaces, the pure untouched brilliance that collectors will battle over like lions fighting for a crown. And when they battle, prices explode. $10,000, $25,000, $50,000. Even the potential to break 6 figures in the right condition. Imagine waking up one morning and discovering that a nickel you ignored your entire life is worth more than your entire monthly income, maybe your yearly income. Imagine that wave of adrenaline, that shock, that disbelief, as you hold a tiny piece of Civil War history that can rewrite your future. But there's another layer, one that makes the 1943 P even more unbelievable. Because some of these coins have errors, and errors mean money. Real money. The kind of money that turned collectors into silent hunters, scanning through every detail with trembling fingers. Double dies, repunch mint marks, lamination errors, clipped planchets, all carrying values that have soared at auction. A strong double die reverse? That can go from $500 to $4,000. A dramatic mint error? $8,000, $12,000, and in extraordinary cases, pushing toward $20,000. You see, it's not just a coin, it's a fortune machine disguised as a wartime memory. Let's go deeper, into the story you never heard. 1943 wasn't just any year. It was a year when metal was rationed, when every factory ran day and night, when workers were exhausted and machines overheated. And in that chaos, coins were struck with haste, with pressure, with urgency. That urgency caused imperfections. Imperfections that now, decades later, hold value beyond imagination. The past suffering becomes your future blessing. The war's panic becomes your potential payday. And that is what makes the 1943 P. Jefferson nickel so breathtaking, so emotionally overwhelming, so powerful. It carries the weight of history, the fingerprint of America's struggle. And yet today, It has the power to lift you, uplift you, change your life in a single moment. Picture this. You're holding this coin. You look at Monticello. You tilt it toward the light. And suddenly you realize the steps, those tiny steps, are all sharp, complete, flawless. And in that moment, your heart stops. Because you know exactly what that means. Wealth, real wealth, auction room shaking wealth, collectors sweating, phones ringing, bids rising like wildfire. $10,000, $20,000, $000, $35,000, $000, $55,000, $000, until finally the hammer drops at a jaw-dropping $75,000 or more. And all of that from a 5-cent wartime coin that once rode in the pocket of a soldier, a factory worker, a train conductor, a mother rushing to buy bread during rationing. The emotional history of this coin only multiplies its destiny. And here's the final shock. Pristine examples of 1943, P. nickels, flawless, untouched museum quality, are projected by some experts to potentially cross $100,000 in future auctions as collectors chase the finest known pieces. Yes, that means a coin in your possession right now could become the next headline, the next record breaker, the next unimaginable moment where life changes forever. This is not just a coin. This is a warning, a reminder, a wake-up call. Check your change. Search your drawers. Dig through everything. Because the 1943 P. Jefferson nickel is still out there, waiting, hiding, watching. And if destiny chooses you, this wartime treasure could make you a millionaire overnight. Next up, prepare yourself, because the coin you're about to discover carries a weight so emotional, so electrifying, so destiny-driven that even seasoned collectors confess their hearts race when they hold one. This is a 1945 S. Jefferson nickel, a coin forged in the final breath of World War II, a coin created in the very year the world prayed for peace, a coin whose metal composition is soaked in history and survival. And today, this same coin holds a raw, shocking power to turn an ordinary person into a wealth-shaken, life-transformed millionaire overnight. 5 cents that can rewrite a future. 5 cents that can explode into a fortune. 5 cents that might be hiding in someone's drawer, silently holding unimaginable value. And that someone could be you. Because the 1945 S isn't just a coin, it's the final chapter of the wartime silver series. The last silver alloy nickel ever produced. The last moment America sacrificed its metal to protect its soldiers. And that historical finality gives this coin an emotional gravity that collectors crave with a passion so intense it borders on obsession. They chase it, hunt it, dream of it. They wait for that one shining example that rises above the rest, the one flawless specimen that enters auctions like a meteor crashing into the bidding floor. And when it lands, the prices explode like fireworks. $9, $000, $12, $000, $18, $500, $28,750, even soaring past $35,000 for full steps gems. Coins so perfect, so outrageously preserved that collectors practically fight for them like lions claiming a crown. But that's only the start of the shock, because there's a level above even that, a level where perfection becomes history, and history becomes value so massive it feels unreal. The finest known 1945 S examples, those shimmering silver warriors with razor-sharp lines and untouched surfaces, have already crossed $50,000 at elite auction houses. And more shocking than that, experts predict that future sales could break $75,000, even push toward $100,000, as collectors chase the last best examples before they vanish forever into private collections. Think about it, a tiny wartime nickel worth the price of luxury cars, college degrees, even down payments on houses. A 5-cent relic turning into a 6-figure miracle. But the emotional punch goes even deeper. Because 1945 wasn't just a date. It was the year the world exhaled. The year soldiers returned home. The year families reunited. The year factories stopped making weapons and started rebuilding dreams. And woven into that emotional turning point was this coin. Millions were produced, yes, but most were spent, circulated, beaten down through years of use. Only a microscopic fraction survived in pristine condition. And today, those survivors, the bright silver-rich wartime beauties, are treasures of destiny. If one of those rests in your hands, you are holding not just history, but potential life-changing wealth. Now imagine this. You find a 1945 S in a box, in a jar, in a forgotten pocket. You tilt it toward the light. The silver gleams. Monticello appears sharp. And then you see them, the steps, full, crisp, complete, perfect. And in that instant, your world shifts. Because you know that full steps coins, especially wartime ones, are the thunderstorms of the coin world. They bring the shock. They bring the adrenaline. They bring the life-changing prices. A perfect 1945 S with blazing luster can easily fetch $15,000, $25,000, $40,000, and in elite grades, the kind with museum-level perfection, auctions have cracked beyond $50,000, with private collectors willing to go even higher. Some whisper numbers like $60,000, $70,000, even a potential future milestone of $100,000 if the right coin appears at the right time. That is the magnitude of this treasure. But let's raise the shock even further. Because the 1945 S is something the world loves. Errors, dramatic, breathtaking, valuable errors that turn ordinary wartime nickel into an auction floor explosion. Double die obverse selling for $2, $000, $5, $000, even $8,000 in high grades. Triple struck errors hitting $10,000 plus. Off-center silver planchets reaching $12,000. Striking defects, clipped edges, over-polished eyes, each a doorway to unexpected wealth. One spectacular wartime off-center piece reportedly sold in a private deal for over $20,000, and collectors say if another appears in top condition, it could push $25,000 or more. These aren't just coins. They're volcanic opportunities. And then comes emotional fire, silver. This is one of the few nickels America ever produced with 35% silver, a direct result of America saving nickel metal for the war effort. The metal itself is history. The shine, the tone, the luster, they are fingerprints of the world's most intense moment. And silver-based coins age differently. They tone differently. They glow differently. That glow is magic to collectors. That glow is money. That glow is destiny. Picture it now. You walk into an auction hall. The lights dim. A spotlight shines on a flawless 1945 S full steps Jefferson nickel. Bidding starts. Numbers fly. Voices rise. Collectors lean forward. Tension climbs. And suddenly, the numbers jump $10,000, $20,000, $000, $30,000, $000, until finally, the hammer drops at a shocking $45,000 or $55,000, and the room gasps. A nickel, 5 cents, now worth the price of dreams. And when you realize one might be hiding in your home at this exact moment, your breath shakes, your heartbeat shifts, because the impossible starts to feel possible. This coin isn't just history, it's hope. It's not just metal, it's destiny. And right now, it's waiting for someone, maybe you, to discover it. Do not underestimate the miracle hiding inside this wartime relic. The 1945 S. Jefferson nickel has changed lives before, and it can do it again. Next up, hold your breath, because the coin you're about to hear about does not just carry value, it carries destiny. The 1964 Jefferson nickel is a coin born in chaos, forged in one of the most frantic minting years in American history, when the United States Mint was producing coins at rates so explosive, so overwhelming that mistakes, miracles, and million-dollar mysteries were born without anyone realizing it. And today, this single coin, this simple 5-cent piece, has the unimaginable power to turn ordinary people into overnight success stories, the kind of wealth-shaking, heart-stopping experiences collectors dream of but rarely get to witness. This is the year that changed everything. This is the year that produced nickels that defy logic, break expectations, and push auction prices into the kind of territory that makes your pulse race. Because the 1964 Jefferson nickel is not rare because of low mintage, but because of condition. You see, in 1964, the mint struck more than 1 billion nickels, A number so massive it shattered records. Coins were rushed. Dies were overused. Machinery ran nonstop. And in that furious storm of production, the Mint accidentally created some of the most valuable nickels in American history. The perfect examples, the flawless, untouched, razor-sharp full steps masterpieces, are so rare, so unbelievably hard to find, that collectors today treat them like sacred treasure. And when they appear at auction, the world watches. Bidders freeze. Hearts pound. Because these nickels have shattered expectations again and again. The finest 1964 full steps Jefferson nickels have sold for $14,100, $22,325, even reaching $32,900, and that wasn't the end. The most stunning example ever seen, a breathtaking MS67 5FS specimen, shocked the world when it approached $40,000, proving that even a billion mintage coin can become a priceless miracle under the right conditions. But what makes this even more emotional, more unbelievable, more destiny-driven, is the fact that 1964 was the last year before America's coinage system changed forever. It was a final moment before the silver era ended for other denominations. It was a final explosion of old-world minting before everything shifted. And that historic shift created chaos. Chaos that mended mistakes, errors, double dies, and anomalies that today bring auction values people never saw coming. That means hidden inside ordinary change jars, scattered across drawers, forgotten in old wallets. There could be coins worth $5, $000, $10, $000, even $20,000, depending on the era and condition. Think about that. Millions of 1964 nickels exist, but the ones worth real money are the ones almost no one notices. The ones that slip through the cracks of history. The ones with value sleeping inside them like dormant fire. And here's where the emotional twist hits hardest. Because the 1964 nickel has something other years never had. A storm of errors that exploded into serious money as collectors dug deeper. Double die obverse selling $4.1, $500, $3, $000, $5,000 in high grade. Off-center strikes reaching $4,000. Dramatic die breaks, cuts, clipped planchets, each capable of bringing in thousands. One spectacular multi-struck error sold for more than $12,000, shocking everyone who witnessed it. And rumor has it that one ultra-rare experimental version, struck on a copper-nickel test planchet, sold quietly in a private deal for more than $15,000. This is the kind of money that appears when you least expect it. This is the kind of shock that makes people check every coin they own. But the emotional weight doesn't stop at errors. No, it goes deeper into the collector's soul. Because the ultimate dream, the treasure that collectors have chased for decades, is the full steps 1964 nickel. Those tiny steps on Monticello are the gatekeepers of fortune. Only the most perfectly struck coins have them. Only the rarest, most spectacular examples qualify. And when one appears, the reaction is explosive. You will see collectors breathe differently. You will see bidding wars ignite. You will see numbers jump like lightning. $10, $000, $15, $000, $22, $3.25, $32, $939,950, all for coin you might overlook in your pocket today. Imagine this moment. You pick up a handful of old coins. Your eyes skim over them. And suddenly you see a date, 1964. You tilt in the light. The shine feels unusual. The steps look crisp. And then your heart stops. Because you realize you might be holding a full step specimen. A coin so rare, so shockingly valuable, it could change the trajectory of your life. A coin capable of paying rent, paying bills, buying land, buying hope. A 5-cent coin holding a 5-figure destiny. And if you found it for free, that feeling alone is worth 1,000 heartbeats. But here's the final, unexpected punch. Collectors and experts today are predicting that the absolute finest 1964 full steps nickels, the MS67 plus level coins, could break $50,000, even $75,000 in future auctions. That's the direction the market is heading. That's the fire these coins carry. Because as time passes, as coins get lost, damaged, or forgotten, the remaining flawless coins become even more powerful, even more desirable. Even more valuable, this is not just a coin from 1964. This is a storm of opportunity. The hidden giant, the sleeping millionaire maker among modern nickels. And right now, one might be hiding in a jar, in a pocket, in a dusty old drawer inside your home. Don't underestimate it. Don't ignore it. Don't let a miracle sit unnoticed. The 1964 Jefferson nickel is proof that destiny comes in small forms. And sometimes, in a tiny 5-cent coin, your entire fortune awaits. Next up, prepare yourself for a year that rewired American coinage, a year that left behind a trail of mystery, hidden wealth, and life-changing treasure. Because the 1965 Jefferson nickel is not just another coin. It is one of the most unpredictable, emotionally charged, shockingly valuable coins of the modern era. A simple 5-cent piece that hides million-dollar potential in its rarest forms, a coin forged during one of the most dramatic turning points in U.S. minting history, when chaos, experimentation, shortages, and non-stop production created a landscape where miracles slipped through the cracks. And today, those miracles are worth thousands, tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands, depending on condition and rarity. This is the coin that exposes destiny. This is a coin that hides fortune in plain sight. And if you're watching this, you might be closer to discovering one than you think. Because 1965 wasn't just a year, it was an earthquake. The United States Mint was scrambling to respond to a national coin shortage, so severe that stores, gas stations, banks, everyone was running out of change. Silver was removed from dimes, quarters, and half dollars for the first time in modern history. The Mint was producing at full speed, 24 hours a day, using experimental mixes, new machinery, and worn-out dies. And out of that chaotic storm came the 1965 Jefferson nickel, a coin that looks simple, but hides a universe of value beneath its surface. Collectors today know one thing. Whenever the Mint is pushed to its limits, rarity is born, errors explode, anomalies appear, and perfect coins become impossible to find. That is exactly why the 1965 nickel has shocked the world again and again. Let's begin with a heart-stopping truth. The 1965 nickel is extremely hard to find in perfect, untouched, sharp strike condition, especially with full steps. The Mint was rushing production so fast that almost no coins came out crisp enough to be considered top tier. And that scarcity is what created values that make collectors go speechless. The finest known 1965 full steps Jefferson nickels have already hit $6, $000, $10, $000, $12,000, and estimates from elite graders suggest that a true MS-67 or MS-68 full step specimen, if discovered, could cross $25,000, even $40,000, instantly becoming one of the most valuable modern nickels ever seen. Think about that for a second. A simple 1965 nickel worth more than motorcycles, more than luxury vacations, more than down payments on homes. A coin worth the kind of money that hits you like a shockwave. But here's where the emotional punch becomes even more powerful. Because 1965 was a height of minting experimentation. In their rush to produce, the Mint made mistakes, big mistakes. And those mistakes created errors so valuable, so rare, so astounding, that when they show up, collectors fight for them like treasure hunters battling for a lost artifact. Off-center strikes reaching $1, $200, $2, $500, even $4,000 in extreme cases. Double die obverse and reverses that have sold for $3,000 and more. Dramatic planchet errors, including coins struck on leftover 1964 blanks, that explode to $5,000 or $7,000, depending on grade. One spectacular multi-strike error sold quietly for more than $10,000, sending shock through the community. These coins aren't just valuable, they're unforgettable. They're emotional lightning, the kind of finds that make your hands shake when you realize what you're holding. And it gets even deeper, because 1965 coins, including nickels, were sometimes struck at multiple mints without mint marks, making certain die varieties mysterious, hard to trace, and extremely collectible. That means specific 1965 Jefferson nickels may carry hidden rarity invisible to untrained eyes. A slight shift in strike, a microscopic die polish line, an unusual step pattern. These details can be the difference between a coin worth 5 cents and a coin worth $10,000. That shock, that unpredictability, is what makes collectors obsess over 1965. It is a thrill of the unknown, the possibility that a coin in someone's pocket could secretly be a treasure waiting to explode into a fortune. But let's raise the emotional temperature even higher, because a true dream for collectors, the Holy Grail, is a flawless, blazing, jaw-dropping full steps 1965 nickel. These coins are so rare that some collectors have searched for decades without finding a single one. The mint simply wasn't producing with the precision needed to form those perfect Monticello steps. And that extreme rarity is why experts believe that a perfect MS67 Plus or MS68 Full Steps 1965 nickel could one day sell for $1.50, $000, $60, $000, maybe even $75,000 as the market continues to rise and supply gets smaller and smaller. That is not just value. That is destiny-changing wealth. The kind of coin that pulls you out of ordinary life and throws you into a world where history, rarity, and fortune collide. Imagine this moment. You're going through old coins. You see a dull nickel from 1965. You almost ignore it, but something tells you to look closer. You tilt under the light. The luster glows, the surface looks surprisingly untouched, and then your heart stops. Because the steps, those tiny steps, look sharp, clear, complete. And suddenly, you feel the shockwave of possibility. What if this is the one? What if this 1965 nickel is a hidden giant, the sleeping treasure worth $10, $000, $20, $000, maybe $40,000? What if this simple coin holds the power to change your life? That feeling, that electric, emotional moment, is exactly why the 1965 nickel is one of the most thrilling coins ever minted. The 1965 Jefferson nickel is not just metal. It is a storm of history, error, scarcity, mystery, and unimaginable value. And somewhere in the world, a perfect one is still waiting to be found. Next up, get ready for a coin that hides danger, mystery, and destiny behind a quiet face. Because the 1985 Jefferson nickel is one of those coins that the world overlooked, the collectors ignored, and the average person treated like nothing more than spare change until the truth burst out, until shockwaves hit the auction world, until experts realized that this coin, this humble 5-cent piece, had secrets buried inside it that could unleash value so stunning, so unexpected, so emotionally powerful, that people today still don't believe how high certain examples have sold. This is the year that proves treasure doesn't always come from the distant past. Sometimes it comes from a simple nickel minted in the 1980s. And today, the 1985 nickel is rewriting the rules, breaking expectations, and creating life-changing wealth for people lucky enough to find its rarest, most flawless forms. Because here's the shocking truth. The 1985 Jefferson nickel has some of the rarest modern full steps examples in circulation, and when one of those perfect precision strikes appears, collectors go wild, absolutely wild. Most 1985 nickels were struck with worn-down dies, rush production, weak strikes, and blurry details. That means only a microscopic fraction left the mint with razor-sharp details, and even fewer survived without scratches, bag marks, or circulation damage. That ultra-low surviving population is exactly why a perfectly graded 1985 full steps nickel has exploded to values that stun the community. We're talking $4,000, $6,000, even $10,000 for the finest MS67 full steps coins. And experts believe that a true MS68 FS, if it ever appears, could break $20,000, maybe even push toward $25,000, instantly becoming one of the most valuable modern nickels ever minted. But this is only the first shockwave, because the 1985 nickel carries something even rarer. Something unbelievably emotional, something that collectors didn't expect. Hidden inside a tiny fraction of these coins are major errors born from minting chaos. Mistakes that slipped out unnoticed, mistakes that today sell for thousands of dollars the moment they appear. And some of these errors are so extreme, so bizarre, so visually powerful, that just holding one feels like holding lightning trapped in metal. Massive off-center errors selling for $1, $500, $2, $000, $3,500, depending on severity. double-struck errors bringing in $4,000. Dramatic die breaks. Cracked faces, cratered surfaces, huge cuds, jumping to $1, $200, $2,400. Triple strikes that shocked auction audiences and soared past $5,000. And then there's the biggest emotional punch of all, a small number of wrong planchet 1985 nickels. Coins struck on dimes, proof blanks, or transitional experimental metals. These rare anomalies have sold for $6,000, $8,000, even $10,000 in high grade. One stunning 1985 nickel struck on a clad dime planchet caused so much chaos at auction that the final price broke $12,000, leaving bidders stunned. This is not just a coin anymore. This is destiny disguised as pocket change. But the story gets even more intense. Because among collectors, the 1985 nickel is considered one of the dark horse millionaire makers, a coin that can transform a person's life. Not because everyone knows about it, but precisely because almost no one does. That means opportunities still exist. Hidden treasures are still out there. Sleeper coins are waiting in jars, drawers, piggy banks, forgotten pockets of old jeans. And if you're the one who finds a flawless full-step specimen or a dramatic mint error, you could be holding a coin worth $5, $000, $10, $000. Even more. That kind of shock. That kind of emotional explosion. That moment when your heart stops and you realize you just picked up a fortune for free. That's what makes the 1985 nickel one of the most electrifying modern coins. Now, let's talk about the rarest of the rare, the dream piece, the treasure that could change everything. Experts have been waiting for the first confirmed MS-68 Full Steps 1985 nickel, a coin so perfect, so flawless, so historically impossible that if discovered it could break $30,000, maybe $40,000. And if bidding get emotional, competitive, aggressive, like it often does with coins that should not exist, we could even see a sale pushing toward $50,000. That would make the 1985 nickel not just a collectible, but a legend. Imagine this moment. You're sorting through old change, not expecting anything. Just a regular day, a regular moment. Then your fingers touch a nickel from 1985. You almost put it down, but something feels different. The luster looks fresh. The edges look clean. You tilt it, and suddenly the steps look sharp, clear, full, complete. Your heart jumps. Your breath disappears. Because in that instant you realize you might be holding something extraordinary. Something worth not cents, but thousands. Something that could change the direction of your life. That emotional shock is what makes this coin unlike any other. A coin from 1985. Your birth year, your parents' era, your childhood memories, suddenly becoming a gateway to wealth, history, and destiny. That is the power of the 1985 Jefferson nickel. A coin that millions ignored. A coin that millions spent without thinking. And yet a coin that hides explosive value in its rarest form. The kind of coin that takes your breath away. The kind of coin that proves fortune can appear at the most unexpected moment. The 1985 nickel isn't just a coin. It's a reminder. Treasure doesn't wait for permission. It shows up when destiny decides.